Hey guys, this is Rays. I'm bringing you guys another HUD-based tutorial video today. Today we're going to be going over part 1 of a 2-video series on terms of changing colors of things within a HUD. This is especially useful for you guys that download HUDs that you really like everything except for the exception of 1 to 2 things, and with this tutorial you'll be able to somewhat easily go into your HUD files, find what it is you'd like to change, and then give them their own color. So the first thing that I'm going to do once I load in is show you the 3 things we're going to be working with today. In means of saving time, I'm only going to show you guys how to change 3 things, but you need to know that this method that I'm showing you will actually work for pretty much anything in a HUD that allows you to change its color. So today we're going to be going over how to change the color of the demo man's charge meter, so like whenever you're charging up a sticky. The medic's charge meter, which is, you know, obviously the charge meter that fills up whenever your medic's trying to build Uber. And then finally, the kind of secondary data section of the target ID, which represents, you know, how much charge a medic has if you look at him whenever he's healing someone, or whenever you look at an engineer's building, you know, how much metal it requires to reach level 2 or level 3. But anyways, with all things aside, now that you guys know what we're talking about, let's go ahead and dig right in. So I've already opened up my TF folder on my other monitor here, so let's mouse over here. Actually, sorry, there's my TF folder. And again, first we need to navigate into the HUD files. So by now I'm sure you guys know to go into your custom, and then wherever you've got your HUD files stored, mine are in Rays HUD, you'll open it up. And then from here it kind of opens up a variety of options. The first one I'm going to show you how to do is good in terms of experimenting with colors, because it allows you to kind of instantly see the changes that you're making, because all it requires is after you save the file that you do a HUD reload scheme, and you'll instantly be able to see the differences that you're making. And then the other one, which I'll show you after this, is once you've kind of settled down on a color, how you can store it in client scheme and use it universally throughout all of the HUD files, which makes it really easy to change one color, or one color value, which will change literally everything in your HUD really easily. Anyways, first things first, we're going to edit the demo man charge meter, because I feel like that'll be the easiest one to kind of represent you guys, or kind of show you guys the change represented by the changing of values. So I believe the file that for that is HUD demo man pipes. Let me double check. Nope, sorry, it's HUD demo man charge actually. So if you guys want to change the color of your charge meter or something like that, the file is HUD demo man charge. And you're going to, once you have that open, indicate the file called chargemeter.res. Now I've already kind of done some experimenting with this, so as you can see, this FG color override value, which is the thing that you're going to eventually be adding if it's not already in your HUD, is set to a specific numerical value. So before I go too deeply into that, let me kind of explain to you guys how this whole process is going to work. So in a lot of HUDs, this might not even be here, so just for means of showing you guys as accurate of, you know, a tutorial as possible, I'm going to head and get rid of this. And so you guys might, whenever you open up your HUD file, see something along the lines of this. Nothing here of these variables that are already listed are there to help you change the color, but that doesn't mean there isn't a variable that will be there to help you change the color. So the next thing you need to do once you indicate the section of the HUD that you want to change, so in our case it's charge meters, you're going to want to add a line, and you're going to want to type in FG color override. Now a lot of you that might have already done some experimenting with HUDs might be like, no, that's wrong, you know, you just have to type FG color. Well, I've kind of made it a rule of thumb to use the FG color underscore override command over the FG color, because there are some HUD elements, and I believe the medic's charge meter is one of them, and the demo man's charge meter might also be another one, where simply using the FG color command is not enough. You have to use that override to override whatever stored value is in place. And so I kind of made it a habit to where if I just type FG color underscore override everywhere, then that way, even if it's not required, it'll still work, and then if it is required, then it will also work with changing the colors of whatever it is I want to change. So just kind of make it a habit to type FG color underscore override in any section you'd like to change the color of. And then after that, you're going to type a 4-digit RGBA value. Now, for those of you who don't know what RGBA is, I'll go ahead and type a stock one, so you'll kind of be able to see a before and after. Sorry about that. We have the value 255, 255, 255, 255. Now to kind of break down this numerical code so it's not like complete jargon to you and you're just like, what am I even doing? The first value is red, so this is your red value. The second value is going to be green, the third value is going to be blue, and the fourth is going to be alpha, or transparency. And to kind of explain what each of those means, or what it means in a whole, is that each value of these four can be set to any number from 0, which is the least amount, to 255. So for example, if I were to change this red value to a 0, and then this blue value to a 0, it would mean that in this color there is literally no red and there's no blue. So it would be the brightest possible green possible without any red or blue involved. And since that second 255 is there, it would mean that there's no transparency, it's fully visible. Whereas if I were to change this value to something like 128, then it would still be that really bright lime green color, but it would be like halfway see-through, so like you'd be able to see things behind it. So generally, whenever you're messing with charge meters, or anything that involves text for the most part, you're going to want to try to keep it at a transparency value of 0, or I guess 255. Well, not 1255, that'd be silly. Because that means that they're in no way see-through, and they will show up visible regardless of what surface you're looking at, or what part of the game or map or anything you're looking at. But again, for means of simplicity and to kind of show you guys a before and after, I'll go ahead and make this white first. And again, whenever you're doing this type of method to change the colors of things within a HUD file, all it requires is you open up the file, make the appropriate changes here, save it, and then let me switch back to the game mode here. All you have to do is a simple HUD reload scheme, so let me go ahead and do that. So we've got our HUD reload scheme, and there we go, we've got our white charge meter now. Perfectly good, perfectly visible, and all that. But let's experiment with it a little bit. So since I was using that lime green value as a type of example, I'll go ahead and actually set it to that. So let me switch back to our file here, and get rid of the red, and we'll get rid of the blue, and then we'll make it half as transparent, and then you'll be able to see that lime green, that vividness I was talking about, but then also how it's partially see-through. And I mean, again, none of this is like, I mean, it's important to know how to do this, but I'm not saying like this is the color you need to use. You can literally create any combination of the four values that you would like, and they will all work, I promise. In the video description, I'll go ahead and link a few common color codes, actually a website that's got a list of a few common color codes, as well as a type of color wheel that you can use to look up the values of whatever you'd like. So after you watch this video, if you would like to kind of do some experimentation yourselves, you'll kind of have a reference guide to work off of. Anyways, let's switch back to the game. So we've got our game here, and again we'll do the HUD reload scheme because again you make your edit, save the file, do your HUD reload scheme, and now you can see it's lime green, but it's partially see-through. Like you can see the resupply cabinet, or I mean you can see the exit sign through the color. So I mean it's still visible, but I mean it's not completely solid. So I mean some people might like that. Maybe it's just me. I personally like the solid colors, but again, I mean, that's the great thing about all this is that you're simply able to experiment with the colors, experiment with the transparency, and create a value that suits you. Anyways, that's one way to change color, and again, the first of two ways, but this is probably the simplest way. So if you're an aspiring HUD maker and you're trying to make a HUD on your own, what I would recommend doing is doing the color changing method this way, where it's instantaneous. That way you can get a color that you think would suit you right, and then after you do that, then do this next method that I'm about to show you guys in terms of saving it into the client scheme file so you can recall it later. So in order to kind of show you guys the next method, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this lime green color as kind of a means of example on how you can use a HUD color universally throughout all .res files, and this is the other way to change the colors of things, but it's really super nifty. Anyways, let's go back to our files here, our HUD files, and we will get right to that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this value because this is a value we're going to be using for this tutorial. And the first thing you want to do if you want to do this second way to change colors, which is a little bit harder to see the actual results of without restarting the game, but a bit more universal, is you're going to want to open up your client scheme. Now, typically in most HUDs, the colors section is going to be at the top of the file. You know, as you can see, like this is literally the top, and then here's colors. But I mean, if it's not, it can easily be found by simply searching for colors with maybe a few slashes in front and behind it, and you should find the header that looks something like this. Anyways, once you've found that, that's how you know what you're looking for. Now, I'm going to disregard all of this for the time being, but these are other color definitions that are in use in my HUD. But to kind of prevent confusing you guys, I will just kind of add this in at the very top. That way you don't even have to pay attention to that. So, we can name it whatever, but essentially whenever you're doing the client scheme.res method, you have to define your color to a name, and then instead of typing a alphanumeric, what am I talking about? An RGBA value here, you'll simply just type the name of that color. So, for client scheme, since this is a tutorial video, we'll just call this tutorial color. And then after that, that's the name. Then you have to give it a definition, so we'll type our value here. Oh, don't want to have double quotes. Double quotes will really screw things up. That's why whenever you edit with your client scheme, or any HUD file really, you need to make sure that you don't have one too many or one too few of these brackets here, or braces, and then one too many or one too few quote signs, because those will really mess up your HUD files. And if you're following this tutorial and you're like, man, Rays, what did you do? You ruined my entire HUD. Well, you just need to double check, make sure you didn't accidentally take one off that you didn't need to take off, or add one too many that you didn't need, because it will break things. Anyways, back to the tutorial. All we have to do in client scheme is really just add in this definition here. So once we've done that, we can just simply save it. And once that's saved, then all we need to do is we need to find all of the places where we want this tutorial color to take effect. So luckily we've already opened up our HUD demoManCharge.res. So I'll go ahead and type that in. Actually, I'm going to copy and paste it because I'm lazy, but I also want to make sure that I don't have any problems during the transferring process. So I'll go ahead and switch this to tutorial color. So that's done. That means whenever the demoman charges up sticky, it will have our tutorial color, which is defined in client scheme. But then let's talk about the other two things I mentioned. And this is kind of a good way. This will be a good way to show you guys how universal it is and how helpful it can be to kind of store a color within your client scheme.res file. So next thing we want to open is the thing within our target ID field, right? Because the thing in our target ID field is the thing that shows the data. So we'll open up our target ID.res file and we will scroll down here. And once we have done that, we will find what we're looking for. I believe for my HUD and pretty much every HUD, the data section, which is the thing that shows the medic's charge meter, or the building upgrade level and amount of metal needed, is called target data label within the target ID.res file. And again, this is another one of those examples where there's everything here except your FG color override. So we're going to go ahead and type that, FG color _ override. Oh, can't spell over apparently. And then we will go ahead and transfer over our tutorial color again, and then save it. And notice that I'm not doing a HUD reload scheme after every one of these, because since I modified the client scheme, I'm going to have to restart my game before any of these changes will take place or take effect. But I figured, I might as well do the edit now. That way, after, all I'll have to do is restart the game and show you guys the results. Anyways, last thing we're going to be doing is our HUD medic charge, or sorry, our medic charge meter, which I believe is stored in the value HUD medic charge.res. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So we'll go ahead and open that up. And you'll scroll down until you find the thing called charge meter. Again, this can be kind of complicated because you've got multiple charge meters. So just so you guys don't get confused, charge meter within the HUD medic charge.res file is the charge meter color for any Uber or Medigun that uses a single bar. So, crits because it goes from 0 to 100, or the normal Uber or the quick fix, or any of those ones. But then if you want to also make it take effect on the vaccinator, then you're going to have to scroll down until you find charge meter 1, 2, 3, and 4, because since the vaccinator breaks down its single Uber charge into 4 smaller ones, then they also have their own definition. So if you're trying to be as consistent as possible, once you change the charge meter value, it's kind of good that you change the value of charge meters 1 through 4 as well. Anyways, that being said, again, we're just going to go ahead and copy this in the FG color override field, which is already added. But again, if it's not added for you, just go ahead and add an FG color override at the bottom of the file. Replace it with our tutorial color, and then we're going to go ahead and do that for all the charge meters here. So there we go, tutorial color, tutorial color, tutorial color, there we go. And then finally tutorial color. So now that we've done that, we're going to switch back to our game. So let me go ahead and do that. We'll be back in our game here. And we're going to restart. So let me go ahead and X out of this. Oh, found an item, it looks like. What is it? Nice, got a Darwin's Danger Shield. Anyways, now we're going to restart our game. So again, we're back at the desktop, but that's okay. Going to relaunch our game here. Oh, Steam Pipe closes games and launches games way too quickly, so it wasn't even ready for it. And for means of showing you guys what this looks like, or the results of all the changes, I'm going to actually load into TR Walkway, which I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because you're going to get to see the results anyways, but I know you're probably used to seeing Badlands at this point, so here we are, loading into TR Walkway. And assuming that we did our client scheme.res color definition correctly, then not only should our demo charge meter or our sticky meter be lime green, so should everything else that we modified. Okay, so we're loading in here. I believe you have to join the red team on this map. I can't ever remember. All these training maps require you to join different colored maps. Anyways, step 1. See, we've got our lime green charge meter here. Works perfectly fine, as you can see. And then next thing we need to test is we need to test our medic charge meter. So let me get the Uber saw so I can do that. I don't know why I'm on this loadout. Okay, so now we're going to test our lime green color on the charge meter for the medic. Again, as you can see, it has also taken effect with the same exact color that we were hoping for. And then finally we will switch to engineer to kind of show you guys what that data value on the target ID field looks like. Oh. And again, see, there we go. We have that same lime green color that is present throughout all 3 of the values that we defined in the client scheme.res file. And again, I can put this file literally anywhere and it will work. And actually, now that I've started up Team Fortress 2 with the client scheme.res change, I can go ahead and add in that color wherever else I'd like, and I'm show you guys the result of that. So let me go ahead and show you one more thing before I finish this video off, because this is another really popular color that people like to change within a HUD, which is the damage value, or the damage color. So like, and let's say we want to make it a different color other than this blue right here. So let me switch back to our HUD files here. And if you want to change the color of your damage numbers, in the file that you're going to look for is huddamageaccount.res. So it'll be right here, huddamageaccount.res. You'll open it up, and the only thing you're going to really need to change is right here, negative color. So we'll highlight this damage numbers. We're going to change it to our tutorial color, save it, as you can see. Then we'll click back into the game, do our HUD reload scheme here, and instantly we've got our see-through lime green damage number colors. So now that that is all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off here. But this is part 1 of our color changing tutorial videos. In the next one, I will show you guys how to do a little bit more complicated things, such as things involving low ammo colors, or buffed health colors, or low health colors, or for that matter, you know, Uber charge meter flashing colors, and all sorts of crazy things like that. So it'll be fun, and I'm sure that if you guys can understand this, and you'll be able to understand part 2 really easily. It's really not that more difficult, but I felt like it's necessary to kind of break these videos into 2 parts. Anyways, that being said, thanks for watching, guys. You're welcome to subscribe and do all that crazy stuff if you'd like, but if not, that's fine too. And again, thank you for watching. Hopefully I was able to help some of you guys out.